Hello guys and welcome back to the channel. In this video I'm going to show you how you can create a fully automated SEO machine that is going to help you to rank #1 on Google by writing SEO articles with just a few clicks. And those articles are going to be fully optimized with index, conclusions and frequently asked questions. And the best of it is that you can use this system and adapt it to the writing style of any website online. So if this sounds good to you, just hit the subscribe button and stay till the end. And now let's go into the video. Let's start first with Airtable and with the different tables that are going to be the engine of our system. So as you can see here, we have three main tables that are basically article generator, clients and background. In the article generator, basically we're going to have all the fields that we're going to use later on to write the articles. In the clients, we're going to have all the different stores with the websites and if they are going to be selected or not in order to provide a background to the articles that we are writing. And from here we can basically describe the website of our clients so we can obtain the background and the tone and voice of our clients. For example, as you can see here we have friendly, promotional, simple, colloquial, and then area of expertise, e-commerce, personalized gifts, retailing. Then here we're going to be able to input a context in two different ways. First, we're going to be able to input a context manually, that is basically we just have to write it here and we are going to click in create topic, and then the other option is that we add a new record and then we scrape the context, okay? And what is going to happen is that this scraping is going to create a context that then is going to be the main idea of the article generator. So now, in the main article generator, in the main table, we're going to explain basically what are all the fields that we are going to use and what are we going to do with all the different fields, okay? So I explained before that whenever we have a new topic here, for example, gifts for him, what we're going to do is click here and click on create topic, okay? So basically this is going to create a topic here, as you can see. Then from here we're going to launch all the different actions, okay? In order to create this topic in the article generator table, basically we're going to use this simple automation that we have here. That, as you can see, is basically when a record matches conditions in the table background, then we're going to create a record in the article generator table with the idea, that is the context, and then the status not started. So as you can see, that's pretty simple. But anyway, let's go and see all the different fields that we're going to be explaining now, okay? So as you can see here, we have the main idea. And then we also have cluster, that is going to be basically the topics that we're going to talk about. So we give extra background to OpenAI. And then we're going to have all the different actions, okay? Here, you're going to see that we have a lot of status. We have generate everything, we have generate idea, regenerate idea, because we're also going to be able to edit the different fields and send prompts back and forth to basically have the output that we desire. So generate idea, regenerate idea, title, regenerate title, keywords, headers, introduction, body, conclusion, frequently asked questions, meta description, and summary. Then we also have a schedule ad that basically is going to trigger an automation when this status is going to be scheduled, okay? So as you can see here, we also have different status like not started, in progress, review, accepted, schedule, immediately published, or generate docs, okay? Indeed, the majority of those status are going to be internal and are not going to trigger any automation because these different statuses are going to show us what is the exact status of a specific article. The articles and the status that are going to trigger automations are going to be scheduled and immediately published, okay? And then also generate docs, and I'm going to be a bit more in depth. Then we also have keywords that are going to be basically a list of 25 to 35 keywords that we're going to be including during the whole article, so the SEO text is going to be fully optimized. And we're also going to have long tail keywords that we are going to use to the FAQ, and we're going to use also maybe in some headers, so the article is going to be even more optimized and we are going to be able to rank in long tail keywords in Google search. Then we're also going to have main photo, index, introduction, post-introduction photo, the headers, the body. And actually here, this is one of the things that I want to show you before going into the system, because as you can see here, we have the full body generated, but as we have the full body generated, if we have it this way, we're not going to be able to include any image in the middle, and basically we're going to have a big chunk of text in the middle of the article that is not going to be very user friendly. So what we're going to do here is basically to divide this body in body part 1, body part 2, body part 3, and body part 4. So basically we're going to be able to include an image that is going to be relevant for that specific section of the body that we're talking about. And as you can see, these images are basically super relevant images that are basically showing gifts, showing a cute little couple of parrots, and then showing a couple kissing, okay? And how are we getting these images? So I'm going to go more in depth about this later on, but basically we obtain them from the Unsplash API, okay? So once we have developed all the body, then we're going to also generate a conclusion. We're going to also generate frequently asked questions, and the answered frequently asked questions, we're going to also generate a meta description, a handle, and a public URL, okay? And the handle here is very important because we're going to be using this formula. And I'm going to be leaving this in the description so you don't have to worry about anything. But basically what we're going to do in this formula, that I know that it may look like super complex, but indeed it's not so complex. Indeed, I actually created it with ChatGPT. Basically what this formula is going to do is selecting all the special characters like question marks or points or commas or whatever, and we're going to substitute them by middle bars. So basically you have the URL handle that then we're going to be able to import to WordPress or to Shopify. And then here we also have the public URL that is going to be basically a concatenation of the URL handle and the website that we're going to be working at. Okay, so in this case it's promesera.net/blog/occasion, and then here we're going to have the handle. Okay, and if we click here, as you can see, we're going to go straight forward to the article with all the images and basically all the relevant information. So let's go back to it. Here we have the summary, here we have the article ID, and then here we are going to have some relevant information that is going to help us to identify the blog and to basically keep track of what is happening with our system, okay? And here we're going to have the published ad. We're also going to have the Shopify ID, that is basically the ID of the blog that we're going to bring from Shopify once the article is published. And then we're also going to have something that is going to be super useful, that is going to be the token consumption, okay? Here we're going to divide it between prompt token consumption and completion token consumption. And then applying this formula that as well I'm going to leave in the description, basically we're going to know how much each article that we have generated has costed us, okay? Now that we have seen how the main skeleton of the Airtable database is built, that actually is the engine of the whole system that we have built, we're going to show how we have built 3 interfaces that is going to make it super easy to interact with the Airtable database. Because indeed, we can use the database as they are, but if they are used by someone that is not very familiar with databases, it's not going to be very user-friendly. So a simple way of making it more user-friendly is basically building the different interfaces. So as you can see here, we have 3 Airtable interfaces. We have the clients and background that basically have 2 different views, one with the clients and one with the background. Here we have the articles interface where we are going to organize all the different articles by status. So basically here we can have quick access to all the articles, and then here in the control dashboard where we have a place to track everything that is happening at every different stage in a simple view. So I'm going to start first with the clients and background interface. And if we want to add a new client, we basically have to click here in add client. And then here we just need to add the name of the client. So for example, Borja Payasa, the website that is borjapayasa.com. And then that would be basically it. Okay, so here we're going to close it. And then here, if you want to take further actions, we're going to basically scrape the web. Okay, and once we scrape the web, what we're going to obtain is something like this. Okay, so we're going to obtain the website actually speaks to their customers and the area of expertise of the website. Okay, so basically then we're going to be able to use this background when we are writing our text. So basically the text that we actually write sound exactly like our website. And let's go now to the background section. So here basically we're going to add the different backgrounds, and we're going to add the different topics that we're going to write about. So there is 2 ways of adding the different backgrounds. One is by inputting a URL of an article that we want to rewrite, and then the second one is by simply writing the idea of the keyword that we actually want to write about. Okay, so same as before, here we just have to click in a new record, and then here, depending if we want to add a URL or a context, here we just have to write, for example, gifts for map. And then here, depending if we are going to scrape the context or we are going to create the topic directly, we're going to click here in create topic, okay? So there is an Airtable automation working in the background that is basically this one. I've shown it before, I think. And now, as we can see in the background, here we have gifts for mom, but also in article generator, here we also have gifts for mom, okay? So let's go to the next stage of the interface, okay? Now let's go to the next interface that actually is going to be the main one, that is basically the articles interface. And as you can see, the idea that we have just included in the previous step, in the previous interface, is already here, okay? And actually this interface is going to be the one that we are going to be interacting mostly. And I'm not going to show it in this exact article because it's going to be basically empty, but I'm going to show it in an article that we have already written. And here basically we have all the different fields that are going to be relevant in order to write an article. Okay, so as you can see, title, the amount spent, the idea, the cluster, the status, the prompt that I'm going to explain what it is, the action with all the different actions, and then basically all the different fields. Okay, so summary, index, body. And remember that at the beginning we said that we are writing one body and then we are subdividing it into 4. So basically here we only have this body without being divided into 4 subsections. Okay, but as you can see here, we have the conclusion, we have the frequently asked questions, and then here we have the frequently asked questions answered. Okay, and we also have the meta description and the handle, that is basically the formula that I showed before. So as you can see here, we have all the different fields like the introduction, the title, the index, the body section 1, the image 1, the body section 2, the image 2, the image 3. And one thing that is super cool as well, and I'm going to show you how to do it as well, is that the images are already named, and then once they go live into the website, I'm going to show it later, they are also going to have the alt text already written. Okay, so that's going to be super useful and it's going to save us a lot of time. So as you can see here, we have all the different fields: conclusion, frequently asked questions, summary, and then here, in case that we want to make any edits, we can basically include a prompt and then edit the fields that we actually want to edit. Okay, so in this case, I'm going to say that we want to make the summary more long. Okay, that we want a more in-depth summary. So we're going to say write a more in-depth summary, and we're going to put this empty, and then we're going to click in regenerate summary. Okay, and approximately it's going to take 10-15 seconds, but we're going to see how the summary is going to be changed now, and from 7 lines that is right now, 6 lines, actually 5, now it's going to be probably, I don't know, 9, 10, 11, 12. Let's see how it works. Yeah, as we can see now it's 10 lines, and this is way more in depth. And then when we have finished with the edits, what we're going to do is to include the date that we actually want to schedule the article for example, to the 27th of March at 2:30 p.m. and then go to the top and then change this to scheduled. Okay, so now this article is not anymore in this view and is going to be in this scheduled view. Okay, and as you can see, this is scheduled for March 27th at 2:30 p.m. Okay, so I'm going to change the status again because this has already been published and I don't want to publish it again. But now, as you can see, it's again here. And as you can see, also the token USD conversion has been increased because basically we have rewritten the conclusion. Okay, so basically we have paid 6 cents. I believe before it was 33 cents, now it's 39 cents. So now let's go with the last interface, and actually I believe that is going to be super useful, especially for the people that is managing the projects. So as you can see here, we have some different charts. Okay, here we have the chart that basically filters by status, and we can also filter by cluster, but in this case we're going to leave it empty. Here we can also filter by date, that we can say yesterday, in this case it's not going to be there because we have published it today. We can see the statuses of all the different articles that we have right now. Okay, so as you can see, this article is not even started and doesn't even have title, and it's basically here. Okay, then we also have a control Kanban dashboard where basically we're going to be able to move easily all the different articles. Okay, so in progress, review, accepted, scheduled, or whatever. Okay, and then with the scheduled calendar and with the published calendar, what we're going to do is basically to have a quick look of what articles are going to be published in the next coming days. Okay, so for example, in the scheduled calendar there is nothing because there is only one article and it has been published already. And then in the published calendar, as you can see here, there is the article that we have already published. So all these interfaces are going to make it super easy to interact with the system, and it is going to super easy to create articles without needing to interact with a database that is not very user-friendly. And by the way, in case that you don't want to build the system by yourself and you want to save the time in building it, I'm going to leave a link in the description where you can purchase it, including all the Airtable interfaces, the database, all the Make scenarios, including one scenario to upload it to Shopify and another scenario to upload it to WordPress. So just go to the link below and purchase it from there in case that you don't want to build it yourself. Let's go now with the Make scenarios, and as you can see, there is 5 of them. There is the context scraping, the create Google Docs, then the extract client on, publish articles to Shopify. But actually, if you want to publish the articles to WordPress, it's just about changing one module, and then the main one, that is the SEO Writer. And let's start with the beginning, that is the extract client on. And as we can see here, it's not a complex scenario. It's like basically 6 different modules that starts with a custom webhook and basically ends with an update a record module. Okay, and now I'm going to show you how it is basically started from the moment that we are in Airtable triggering an automation till the moment that we update the record. Okay, so let's go back to Airtable, and as you can see here, basically we're going to have this automation that basically in the client's table, when the record matches the condition and it means the action column basically has the status of scrape web, then we're going to run this script. Okay, and this script is a very simple script that basically sends the record ID to the Make scenario, and I'm going to leave this in the description in case that you want to copy it. So let's go now back to Make, and with the second module, that is going to be basically an Airtable get a record module, where basically we are going to retrieve all the information from that record that we have sent previously. Okay, and then with all the information that we have taken from that record, basically we're going to obtain the website, and we're going to scrape that website with this Scrape Ninja module. Okay, here it is very important that we actually use this function that I'm going to leave it in the description as well. So basically we're going to scrape the website successfully. Okay, then we need to parse the HTML to text, so basically it's more readable by the OpenAI module that we're going to use here, and in this case I'm using GPT-4 Turbo. And then basically the message that I'm sending to OpenAI is basically, hey, with this parse text that we have taken from here, please write and identify the area of expertise of the content of this extracted from a website using the following variables. Respond only with the tone and area of expertise. Here we have the tone, and then here we send an extra message saying that, hey, please only respond with the variables and the area of expertise. Okay, and then here in the last step of this scenario, basically we're going to update the record. That is going to be basically the record ID from this Airtable module, and then the background that we have got in the previous step in the OpenAI module. And now let's go to the next scenario that is going to be basically extracted an idea from an existing article, so then we can rewrite it. Okay, and as you can see, it's going to be super similar to the scenario that we have seen. Indeed, it is exactly the same until this OpenAI module, with the difference that this webhook is starting from the background table instead of the client table. Okay, so here we have this prompt with the parse text from the previous step, extract the main idea from the previous article and turn it into an SEO article idea that then we can rewrite. And then here's some extra information. And here we're going to update the record in the same way that we did in the previous scenario. Basically, we're going to update the information from the OpenAI module, and then we're going to include it in context. And then also we're going to create a new record in the articles table, as we are going to see here. Okay, so we have base article writer and then article generator with the main idea here. So as you can see, there is nothing else added, and basically it's the only thing that we want there. Okay, so let's click on OK, and now let's go to the main scenario that is basically the SEO writer. Let's go now to the main Make scenario, and as you can see, this is a quite complex scenario, but indeed it's not so complex because the logic behind each one of the different routes that we have here, and even the sub route, is exactly the same in each one of them, and each one of them is going to create one different section of the article. So for example, here we have idea, then we have title, then we have keywords, then we have headers, and basically we're going to do the same process, which is one of the different sections that then are going to create the whole article. So let's go with the first one, that is actually idea, and then let's take a look to the logic, so then you can understand how the logic of the rest of them is built. And then we're also going through the most important ones, so you can understand what are the difference, for example, with the idea section or the body section or the frequently asked questions, because the logic is indeed a bit different, but it's basically the same. Let's go and take a look to it. And as you can see, this router basically sends to the idea path whenever the action in Airtable, that is basically this action that we have here, equals to generate everything, generate idea, or regenerate idea. So what is going to happen whenever we change the status in Airtable and we change this to generate everything, generate idea, or regenerate idea, basically it means that the data bundle is going to come through this direction. And in this case, you can see that whenever we're generating everything, the idea needs to be empty as well, because if it is not empty, we're going to go straight forward to the title. So as you can see, the others are generate idea and regenerate idea. And now let's go one level in depth of how the logic of the system works. Because here in the main route, we have 3 different options. But here, as you can see, there is another 3 different sub-routes. And what we're going to do there is basically sub-filter and send the data bundle through one or another, depending on what is the status that we have in our table. So for example, the data bundle is going to come through this sub-route when the status is generate everything. But in this case, when the status is generate idea, is going to come through this route. And in this case, when the status is regenerate idea, is going to come through this route. And the prompt that we are going to use is slightly different. For example, in this case, generate everything and generate idea is going to be the same. And it's basically this one: write an article idea, maximum 30 words for our blog in the cluster. That cluster is basically this thing that we have here. We will generate the title later, respond without quotes. And the prompt here is basically the same. And then what we do in both cases is basically to update the idea field in the Airtable database with the content that we have generated in the previous step in OpenAI. Let's go now with the regenerate idea, because this is slightly different, because we are not only taking in consideration the cluster, but we're also taking in consideration the prompt and the idea. Because here we're going to send consider the judgments, prompt, and the current idea, rewrite the article idea in maximum 30 words for our blog. We will generate the title later, respond without quotes. So what we're going to do here is, with this field that we have here, that in the interface is actually here, I'm going to show it, is at the bottom, is over here. We're going to be able to regenerate the idea, the title, or whatever section we want to do, okay? So let's go now back to Make, and now in this route, we're going to see how we generate the title. So for example, here the logic is going to be exactly the same. It's going to be generate everything, generate title, or regenerate title. And then here, the sub-routes is going to be generate everything, generate title, or regenerate title. And depending on what sub-route we're going through, we're going to apply one logic or another. For example, in this one that we're generating everything, it's very important that in every sub-route, basically we're generating everything, we are recovering all the record information. Why that? Because here, if we don't recover the information and we are only using the information that we had at the beginning in this Airtable module, in this one that we have here, it means that we won't be able to use the information that we have generated previously in the previous steps. So it's very important that in every sub-route of generate everything, you have an Airtable get a record module where basically we recover all the info from that specific record. Let's take a look to the specific prompt, and then let's take a look to how we are finding the images using Unsplash API. So for example, here we have 2 messages. One is going to be a system message saying you are an SEO expert with expertise and tone and writing style with background. That background is this 241 model that is basically a search record in the client's table with this formula. And basically using this formula, what we're going to do is filter those clients and basically have this select field check. If there is no clients that have this select field check, it means that we are not going to provide any value in the background, and the AI is going to generate a background, or the AI is going to write the text with their own writing style. Okay, so this is very important that we actually select it. We can select it from here, or we can also select it from here. It's actually the same because the interface is just a more user-friendly way of writing the content. So this module is very important because it's the module that is going to provide the background to all the different fields. But now let's go back to the title. Because here, as you can see, we're going to use this prompt, first the background, and then the prompt that we're going to send to OpenAI that is going to be given the idea for the cluster, generate a title using the keywords for the article, respond without quotes. And basically here, we're going to use the same prompt, and here we're also going to include the prompt. And okay, so as you can see here, there is an HTTP make a request module, and basically what we're going to do here is to use the Unsplash API. So we can send a query to Unsplash, and then Unsplash can return 1, 2, 3, 4 images, as many as we want, okay? In case that you want to know how to use the Unsplash API and connect it to your system, I'm going to leave a link in the description. So basically you can connect. So basically you can create your app and you can use your own keys, okay? Because if I go into this, it's going to take another 10-15 minutes and the video is going to be super long. So as you can see here, basically we're going to send some query strings. The orientation is going to be landscape, and then the count is going to be 1. And basically this is the amount of images that we are going to return. And then the query that is going to be basically the search term that we are sending to Unsplash is going to be this query that we are generating here. That is basically create a query of 4 words so we can launch an image search on Unsplash and find relevant image for the text, reply only with the query in English with 4 words. And with that prompt, basically we are going to obtain 4 queries that we're going to use here in Unsplash. And then here last, we're going to use an update a record module. And what we're going to do is basically include the title, as you can see here, and then also include the file URL that we have gotten here, and the file name, so that we can upload it with an alt text properly written, is going to be the content that we have obtained in this module. So as you can see here, there is 104, and here there is 104. And then here, the prompt token consumption and the completion token consumption, that is something that I'm going to go a bit more in depth later. So we have seen how to create a title and how to create the idea. And now for the different sections, basically we're going to follow the same exact logic, okay? So in this case here, we're generating the keywords, as you are going to see here, generate keywords and long tail keywords. And in this case, we're going to have one extra route because we will also have long tail keywords. So for example, the first message is going to be generating the keywords. As you can see, generate 25 keywords separated by commas and respond without quotes. And indeed here, we can eliminate this message. I'm gonna do it. And in this second message, we will not only generate keywords, but we will also generate long tail keywords. And here also we can delete this one, the background. So the prompt that we are going to send to OpenAI is going to be given the title for the cluster, generate a list of 10 long tail keywords separated of commas, respond without quotes. And these long tail keywords are important because then we're going to use them in order to write our FAQ or in order to include them during the text, so basically we can rank in other terms different than the main ones. Here, as you can see, we're going to update the record, and then we're going to include the keywords and the long tail keywords, as you can see. And the logic here is exactly the same, with the difference that we can also regenerate the long tail keywords. Then we're also going to do the same with introduction, and here with the header. In the headers, actually, I want to show you something, because with the headers, then we're going to write the structure of the body, which is going to be super important if we want to create a super in-depth piece of content that is going to help us to rank higher in Google. So the prompt that we're going to be sending here is, given the title, introduction, cluster, and the list of keywords, generate the headers of the body for the article following the same structure. And as you can see, there is 1h2, there is 3h3s, and then we repeat the same structure 4 times, okay? And this is very important because this is basically going to help us create more in-depth content with the h3s related to the h2s and the h2 related to the title of the article. And as you can see here at the end of the prompt, basically we have each h2 needs to dive deeper into the article's title, and same with the h3s with the h2s. So same logic here. If we don't like the structure, then here we're going to use the prompt. And then here, super important here with the body, because actually this is not the most complex, but is actually what makes the article outstanding, is basically that we're going to write one body initially, and then we're going to subdivide that body in the 4 h2s, okay? And why are we doing that? Because obviously, if we go to the article and straightforward, we have this piece of content that we're going to have here without any kind of images, as you can see here. Basically, this content is great, but for the engines, it's going to be a nightmare because it's not going to be relevant for the user, because it's going to be very hard to read. So what we're going to do here is basically divide each one of these H2s and insert a picture in the middle, okay? And we're going to see how it actually looks. So here, as you can see, there is the first section of the body, there is an image, there is the second section of the body, there is another image, then there is the third section of the body, another image, and then there is the fourth section of the body and another image, okay? And this is basically what is going to make our article different than the others. The fact that we are going to be able to insert images that are going to be properly alt tagged and that are going to follow all SEO requirements. So let's go back to the SEO writer, and now let's go a bit more in depth of what are the prompts that we are using in order to generate the body. And here, the prompt that we're going to use is basically this one. Given the introduction, title, and headers, generate the body of the article from the structure of the headers, and use keywords from the following list. That is basically the keywords that we have generated previously, and include, if possible, long-tail keywords from the list, long-tail keywords that we also have generated previously, and then basically some adjustments of how long each section needs to be, okay? And then here we're also going to send another message that is going to be a message with role system, basically providing the background and the tone that we want to provide. And now here, very important, we have the full piece of the body, okay, which is going to be the main piece of content. But as I said, we have the full piece of content without any image in the middle. So what we're gonna do is basically in these subsections, as you can see, there is 1, there is 2, there is 3, and there is 4. We're going to be extracting the specific section of the body that we actually want to include an image after. So for example, here, we're going to extract the first section of the body. And here we provide some background. So for example, the text that we're providing is the body of an article, and the structure is the following: a total of 4 H2s with 3 H3s below. Extract from this text the first H2 on all the H3s and body text corresponding with that H2. And then here we send the message content from this model. So you see 52 here and 52 here. And here there is some extra parameters that are going to help us to have a cleaner out. And here we're going to do exactly the same with all the different sections of the body. So this would be the same prompt, but extracting the second H2. This would be the same prompt, but extracting the third H2. And this would be the same prompt, but extracting the fourth H2. And this HTTP modules is going to be basically the query that we're going to be sending to Unsplash in order that we return an image that we can insert in the middle of the article. So for example, create a query of 4 words that we can launch an image search of an Unsplash and find relevant image for the text, reply with the query in English with 4 words of the following text. And the text is this one that we have gotten here, 168 and 168. And this means that every after section of the body, we're going to have an image that is going to be related to that section of the body. And here, as we did previously, basically we're going to have another subroutes, like regenerate body, or in this case, generate body. Now let's take a look to the last 4 sections, because they are also going to be super important in order to write a very in-depth piece of content, okay? So here, as you can see, we're going to generate a conclusion, and the logic is exactly the same as we have seen before. And here, the prompt that we are sending is basically this one. Given the title, introduction, and the body, generate a conclusion of about 125 to 150 words for the article. Use keywords that have not been used from the following list, and include, if possible, long-tail keywords. And this way, we're also going to optimize that conclusion of our article. Here, exactly the same logic, like generate conclusion or regenerate conclusion. And now let's go to the FAQ, okay? Because the FAQ is actually slightly different. So as we can see here, we have 4 different routes. We have the route of generate everything. We have the route of generate frequently asked questions. We have the route of generate frequently asked questions, or we have the route of answer frequently asked questions. And basically, we're doing this because from the tests that I have made, I found that this is the way that we have a better output, okay? Because if not, we get weird responses with OpenAI saying, hey, this is your answers, or doing something weird. So basically, I found that this is the way of having a more in-depth, frequently asked questions that are going to help us to have better content. And here, for the frequently asked questions, we're going to use the following prompt. Given the title, generate a list of 5 frequently asked questions using the keywords on the following list. And these are the keywords, and also long-tail keywords from the list long-tail keywords that have not been used either. Respond without quotes. And basically here, as you can see, this is the path of generate everything. This is the path of generate frequently asked questions. This is the path of regenerate frequently asked questions. And this is the path of answer frequently asked questions, because here first, the data bundle is going to come first through this one, that is the one of generate everything, and then it's going to come through this, that is in the same route, but here we are also going to answer the question. And the prompt that we're going to be using is basically this one, okay? So a very similar prompt, but in this case, also adding the parameter prompt. Now here we're going with the meta description, and as you can see, the logic is exactly the same that with the other sections, okay? And here, the prompt that we're going to be using is this one. Give it a title, and introduction, generate a description for Google results. And basically, this is going to be a text that is going to be available in Google. So basically, the people that see our page on Google is going to have a super brief introduction of what the article is going to be about. And now we're going to generate the index, because it's going to be super important in order to make it more relevant for the user, so the user can go to the specific section. And here we're going to have only 2 routes, okay, because indeed, like, we don't need to regenerate it because the index is going to be very straightforward. And the prompt that we're going to be using is the following, okay? Generate an index from the following headers that are the headers that we generated in the previous step, considering only the H2s, and we can differentiate them because we're actually using Markdown. And then before the H2s, add introduction, and after the H2s, add conclusion, frequently asked questions, and summary. And then make sure that the numbers match, okay? And here in last place, we're going to create a summary. And this is also super important because it's going to be the last piece of content that is going to be in the article, and it's going to give a clear overview of the article to the reader, okay? So here we're going to use the following prompts, okay? Create a summary of about 100 to 150 words of the following article: title, introduction, body, conclusion, and frequently asked questions. Respond with the summary only, headed with an S2, title, summary, and do not start with something like this article, just summarize it. Every 2 sentences should be a jump of lines so this text is easy to read. Respond without quotes. And here we're going to send again the background, so basically we write it with our same writing style. Here, exactly the same prompt, okay, because basically this is generate everything and this is generate summary. And then here, in case that we want to regenerate the summary, we're going to do exactly the same, but also we are going to add the prompt. And now we're going to see how to create the scenario that we're going to use in order to upload the article to Shopify or to WordPress. And in this case, we're creating this scenario to Shopify. But indeed, if we want to upload it to WordPress, it's just about changing this module for a WordPress module. But anyway, remember that you are going to have a link in the description where you are going to be able to purchase this exact template, including the uploading to Shopify or the uploading to WordPress, in case that you don't want to build it your own. And the scenario is going to start in the same way as before. It's going to start with a webhook that is going to be run from an Airtable database that is going to be basically this one. When in the table article generator, the status is immediately published, then we're going to run this code that is basically the one that I showed to you previously and that is going to be in the description. As I said, you just need to substitute it with your webhook URL. Okay, so now in the next module, basically we're going to retrieve all the information from that specific record, and all the information means the introduction, the index, the body, all the images, and basically all the information that we may potentially need in order to upload the article. Okay. And then here we're going to use this markdown to HTML module that is super important, because it doesn't matter if it is WordPress or Shopify. In order to upload an article, we have to upload it with the HTML. So here we're going to write exactly this, okay? Because here we need to first include the index, then the introduction, and then here with the images, it's very important that we write it with this specific format. First, this symbol, and then we have to include the image file name, because that's going to be the alt text that we're going to send to WordPress or to Shopify, and then we need to include the image URL, okay? Then we're going to add the body part 1, then the second image, then the body part 2, then the third image, then the body part 3, fourth image, body part 4, and then conclusion, frequently asked question, and summary, okay? And what this module is going to do is basically converting the markdown to HTML. So once we upload it to Shopify, this is going to be properly formatted. And now, super important, in order to have the main photo, the banner image, uploaded to Shopify or to WordPress, we need to download the main photo using an HTTP get a file module, where basically we're going to include the variable of main photo URL, okay? Then once we are in Shopify, we just need to select the block that we're going to write it for, and then basically fill all the different fields. So as you can see here, we have title, we have body HTML, we have summary HTML, that is going to be the meta description. We have the author, and in this case it's going to be me, but it can be whoever you want. Then we have the handle, and then we have the image that is going to be the data that we got from here, and it's going to be the alt text that we got from here, that is actually the file name of the main photo URL. So we're going to click now in OK, and now the last step in order to know that the post has been successfully uploaded is going to be to update the record in Airtable. And then in Airtable, the only 3 things that we're going to change are basically the status is going to be published, then we're going to include the published ad, that is the current date when the article is going to be uploaded, and then the Shopify ID, that is going to be the blog ID. And this is now the last scenario that we're going to take a look to. And as you can see, this scenario is also very simple, and is very similar to the one of uploading the blog articles to Shopify, because the first 3 modules are exactly the same, with the only difference that the webhook that we are triggering is different. And in this case, the webhook is going to be triggered when in Airtable the action equals to generate docs. Then in the same way as we did before, we recover all the information from the record using an Airtable get a record module, and basically including here the record ID that we got from the webhook. And then here in the markdown is exactly the same to the scenario of uploading the article to Shopify, as you can see. And then the biggest difference that we're going to have in this scenario is that we're going to use a Google Docs create a document module. And in this module, basically, we're going to connect it with our Gmail, and then the name of the docs is going to be basically the title of the article. And then it's also very important that we include this exact code in the content. And as well, I'm going to leave in the description, okay? This is important because if we don't include that the doc type is an HTML, basically Google is not going to recognize the content and it's going to write the full code in HTML and it's not going to be formatted at all. And then also we have to select the document's location, okay? So I'm going to click in OK, and then here the only thing that we're going to do is basically to include the web view link into the Google Docs field that we actually have, okay? So here is very important that we select the web view link that is basically here. So as you can see, this scenario is super simple, but it's going to help us to have all the articles in a document in case that we want to send it to a team member, to a manager, or to a client. And with the explanation of this scenario, we have finished with all of them. And now what we're going to do is to do a test from the beginning to the end, so basically you can have a clear overview of how the system and the workflow works. If we want to start from the beginning, the first thing that we actually have to do is go to the Clients and Background interface and then select the Client tab. Here, we can actually select an existing one or we can add a new one by clicking here. But in this case, we're going to select this one. So this is selected already, but in case that you want to add a new one, you just have to click on the client and then make sure that this select checkbox is checked, okay? Because this is what is going to provide the background when writing the article. So we're going to make sure that this is selected. And now we're going to go to the background tab. So for the background, I actually found this article that might be relevant. That is basically an article on WikiHow about how to choose a gift. So we're going to go here and we're going to click in that record. And then we're going to paste the URL and we're going to click in scrape context. So in around 10, 15, 20 seconds, we're going to have the whole context of what this article is about and we're going to be able to replicate it. So we have it here already and the context is gift giving guide, how to choose the perfect present for any occasion. So we have this here and now this idea is also going to be here in not started articles, as we can see here. So gift giving guide, how to choose the perfect present for any occasion. So now we're going to select the cluster, and in this case it's going to be gifts for occasions, and we're going to click in generate everything. And as soon as we click in generate everything, basically we're going to have all the different sections of the article, like title, keywords, long tail keywords, all the different sections starting to show up in the Airtable interface, okay? So let's click here and let's wait for a bit and let's see what happens, okay? So the first thing that is going to come up is the title, and then we're going to have the main image. So here we have Ultimate Gift Giving Guide, find the ideal gift for every occasion. And here we have an image that if we click here, we have perfect gift celebration concept. So as you can see, we have the alt text, we have the image name properly, and basically we're going to be generating all the different fields or the article here in a matter of seconds with just a few clicks. So I'm going to come back with the article is ready and I'm going to show what is the result. Okay, so the article is ready now, and as you can see here, this article took exactly 28 seconds to be built, okay? And we're going to see the results. So as you can see here, there is like the summary, the index, the body, but the body is not separated into 4 sections. The conclusion, the frequently asked questions, and here we have the preview, which I believe that is pretty cool because it's going to help us to understand how the article is going to look when it's hitting the website, okay? So here we have the preview, and as you can see here, we have an image that is with the alt text and with the name. Then here we have also the index. Here we have the title, the introduction, another image, unique gift ideas, and then basically all the different sections of the body, okay? So in this case, actually, we have the same image. I guess that I need to change it. But here we have basically all the different H2s and H3s that are basically what is going to help us rank first in Google. Okay, so in this case, the first H2 was Master of the Art of Birthday Gifting. Then we have Wedding Bliss, Wedding and Anniversary Gifting. Then we have Celebrate the Seasons, Holiday Gifts Galore. And then we have Milestone Moments, Graduation and Beyond. And each H2 basically goes a bit deeper into the H1, and then each H3 goes a bit deeper into the H2. So as you can see, Milestone Moments, and here we have Graduation Gifts, here we have Engagement Gifts, here we have Retirement Gifts. So here we have another image, the conclusion, the frequently asked questions, that as you can see, we're using some long tail keywords, for example, best anniversary gifts for couples, or unique birthday presents for the best friends, or personalized graduation gifts for him, thoughtful, housewarming gift ideas, and all these long tail keywords basically from the list that we have generated previously. So we have the summary here at the end, and here we have the meta description. Let's do a test of what we can do if we want to change something, because for example here we have the conclusion, and I believe that maybe it's like a big chunk of text, and maybe it's a bit exaggerating about our guide, because literally saying that our guide is the best. So let's send a prompt to correct that and to say that make it more easy to read, and let's see what happens. Okay, so here, make it more easy to read, don't exaggerate, and make it a bit longer, separated into paragraphs. So basically now we have selected the prompt. We're going to go here, we're going to unselect everything, and we're going to click on regenerate conclusion. So we're going to go here to the conclusion, and approximately in 5, 10, 15 seconds, something like that, we're going to have our new conclusion that is going to be regenerated, and probably is going to match better what we are looking for in the conclusion. Okay, so as you can see, we have just received the conclusion, and now it's a bit more in depth, and probably it has followed our prompt. So as you can see, we have got an article that is super in depth, and it's probably between 2,500 and 3,000 words, with images, with alt text, and basically everything ready to go. Okay, so now we're going to schedule it, and I'm going to show you how we schedule and what is the logic behind the scheduling. Okay, so we can schedule it from here, or we can also schedule it from here, and basically what we're going to do is to schedule it for today. Okay, so here is going to be in a scheduled, and now here there is going to be another automation that actually has been just run, that I'm going to show you what is this about. Okay, so as you can see here is exactly publish a script. So we're going to have two automations. Okay, we're going to have this one that is published from a schedule, that basically is if a scheduled ad is today and a status is scheduled, then we're going to update the status to immediately published. And then we have another script that whenever the status is immediately published, then we're going to run this script that we showed previously, and it's going to send the information to the Make scenario. Okay, and now the article should be ready, and what we're going to do here is to click here on the public URL, and let's see what we have. So as we can see, the article is here with the title, with the index, with the introduction, and now let's take a look if all the images are properly alt texted, and basically see everything. So as we can see, unique GIF ideas. Then if we go to the next one, unique birthday GIF ideas. Then if we go to the next one, wedding anniversary GIF ideas. And then basically we have all the images properly alt texted, festive holiday GIF guide. So as we can see here, it's a super fast way of publishing quality articles into your website. It can be Shopify, it can be WordPress, and it is super fast. But it's not only that it's fast, it's that it's also super cheap, because the previous article that I have published was basically 39 cents, and this one that we have just written is 31 cents. And if you are wondering how we're getting this number, well, it's very simple. So every time that we update a record, basically we're going to sum the prompt tokens and the completion token, and then we're going to add them to our previous value existing. So we add usage prompt tokens plus usage prompt tokens plus prompt token consumption, and basically here with this formula that is basically taken from OpenAI, we're going to calculate this exact value that, as you can see, is super cheap, taking in consideration the quality of the articles that we are writing. So guys, that's basically it, and as you can see, this system can help you to write SEO articles and rank number 1 on Google. And in case that you want to purchase a template, I'm going to leave a link in the description where basically you are going to have access to all the interfaces, all the templates, and all the make scenarios, including the scenario to upload it to Shopify and the one to upload it to WordPress. So basically you just have to plug and play into your business. But anyway, if you have any question about the system or any template, just drop a comment in the box below. And now, if you found value in this video, please like and subscribe, because building the system took a while, and then actually recording and editing also took a while. So that's all for today, guys, and see you in the next one.